Hello guys, it's 15th of December 2016. Article from Zero Hedge, dated the 14th. Now this follows on from my hint at this article back when I did the Max Egan interview, where it was rumoured that the Australian $100 bill would be removed from circulation. And here we are, about 2 weeks later, and the news has obviously just broke out via Zero Hedge. War on cash escalates. Australia proposes ban on the $100 bill. No cash within 10 years. Submitted by Michael Shedlock via the mishtalk.com. Global financial repressions has picked up steam. Australian citizens are likely the next victim. And obviously this is in the wake of all the other currencies that are spiralling down and being removed from circulation, all in an agenda to push citizens' finances purely into the digital age of entrapping everything as a creditor into the banking systems. And I will also link this story into my next video, which is going to be covering some cryptocurrency news, which everybody should watch if you're seriously interested in financial protection and gold and silver related news topics, because it is fundamental that everybody starts to understand this cryptocurrency movement that is occurring for the following reasons that I will discuss in the next video. So carrying on with this one. Government floats the $100 note removal. Say goodbye to the $100 note. Australia looks set to follow in the footsteps of Venezuela and India by abolishing the country's highest denomination banknote in a bid to crack down on the, quote, black economy, end quote. Speaking to ABC Radio on Wednesday, Revenue and Financial Services Minister Kelly O'Dea flagged a review of the $100 note and cash payments over certain limits as the government looks to recoup billions in unpaid tax. And that's what this whole agenda is about. It's about being able to tax every single transaction that takes place, with no anonymous activities or transactions taking place, because obviously these are untaxable. Quote, the one point of this crackdown on the black economy is to make sure we close down on any potential loopholes, end quote, she said. Despite the broad use of the electronic forms of payment, Mrs. O'Dea warned there are 3 times as many $100 notes in circulation than the $5 notes. Quote, it does beg the question, why, end quote, she said. There are currently 300 million $100 notes in circulation, and 92% of all currency by value is in the $50 and $100 notes. Again, this is obviously a phenomenal amount of circulated fiat currency inside of Australia. Now, it doesn't obviously break it down as to how much of that percentage is the 100 note, but it's easy to work out that 100 times 300 million is 30 billion in circulation. So they're going to remove 30 billion Australian dollars from circulation. A report by UBS recommended Australia scrap the $100 note. According to UBS, benefits may include, quote, reduced crime, difficult to monetize, increased tax revenue, fewer cash transactions, and reduced welfare fraud, claiming welfare while earning or hoarding cash. But how does that actually eliminate hoarding cash? Because obviously if the $100 is eliminated, well then they just step down to the 50. And if they eliminate the 50, well they step down to 20 or use other forms of currency, payment in either cryptocurrencies or payment in other assets like gold and silver. There will always be a way around if a black market is to survive. That's how a black market survives, by adapting to whatever the situation is. And as we're aware, humans are the most adaptable life forms, able to live and exist in any situation. Quote, from the bank's perspective, there would likely be a spike in deposits, and I'll pause there, which is the agenda. A spike in deposits. And what happens when you deposit your currencies, your fiat currencies, into the banking system? You become a creditor to the bank. That fiat currency then becomes the bank's asset, not yours. They just give you an IOU in the form of a deposit, whether it be on your debit cards or whether it be on a printout balance sheet that they issue you. The point is, with the systemic situations that is occurring globally, banking institutions, they are requiring maximum amounts of creditor deposits in order to buffer the collapse that is going to occur. This bail-in scenario, which has been authorized and implemented all throughout Europe and the world. So this is the precursor to the 2008 crisis, which saw bailouts. This is seeing bail-ins. It's that simple. Just carrying on. If all the $100 notes were deposited into banks, ignoring hoarded $50 notes, household deposits would rise around 4%, end quote, the report said. So that pretty much wraps up what this whole agenda is about cashless societies. Now moving over to this next topic, which is Zero Hedge, 14th of December. Jeff Bezos arrives at Trump Tower. But before we get into this article, I'm just going to give you another quick rundown of exactly what is happening inside of this Trump Tower via the New York Post. Trump pledges open door with Silicon Valley at meeting, 14th of December. Vice President-elect Mike Pence looks on as President-elect Trump shakes the hand of Peter Thiel during a meeting with technology executives. Donald Trump gathered tech titans, many of whom opposed his candidacy for the presidency, for a Trump Tower meeting Wednesday, pledging an open-door policy with Silicon Valley. Quote, "I'm here to help you folks do well," end quote, the president-elect said. "Anything we can do to help this go along, we're going to be there for you. You call my people, you call me, it doesn't matter. We have no formal chain of command around here," Trump told the techies. Trump was flanked by Peter Thiel, a founder of PayPal and an early supporter who even spoke at the Republican National Committee, and Vice President-elect Mike Pence. Gary Cohen of Goldman Sachs, you're never short of a Goldman Sachs man no matter where you are in the media, and Wilbur Ross, two recent appointments to the Trump administration, were also there. Trump's grown children, Donald Jr., Ivanka and Eric, all members of the Trump transition team, were all seated at the table as well. The goal of the meeting was to discuss job creation and economic growth, said spokesman Sean Spicer. Among the executives presented were Larry Page and Eric Schmidt of Alphabet. And obviously Alphabet, guys, is the parent company of Google. Sheryl Sandberg of Facebook. Elon Musk of Tesla, who is obviously also the guy who is putting billions into space exploration. Satya Nadella of Microsoft. Jeff Bezos of Amazon, and Tim Cook of Apple. So you've got Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Tesla, Facebook, Google, all sitting around this table, having a nice chinwag. So back over to this article. As a reminder, Trump is sitting down with top-notch executives, including several of his sharpest critics, to mend fences after a divisive election in which virtually all of Silicon Valley backed Hillary Clinton. And this is a key point, which I'm now starting to come to an understanding of what's happening here. And I'll cover that soon. The afternoon summit is set to begin at about 2 p.m. And obviously we've covered that with the next article. Washington is still buzzing over Trump's nomination of ExxonMobil CEO Rex Tillerson to be his Secretary of State, with concerns about the oilman's ties to Moscow riling some of the allegations of Russian interference in the November 8th election, which clearly, guys, is total propaganda bullshit put out by the sore losers of the Hillary Clinton team. Against that background, Trump is heading into hostile territory. With the exception of PayPal co-founder Peter Thiel, Silicon Valley shunned the New York billionaire during the presidential campaign, throwing their weight behind his Democratic rival, Clinton. The tech talks, convened by Trump, will bring together CEOs Tom Cook and Apple, Microsoft and Google, and Brian Krzanich of Intel, a Trump transition spokesman told reporters. Bezos, also on the guest list, are Tesla and SpaceX founder Elon Musk, Facebook's chief operator Sheryl Sandberg of Oracle, chief executive Safra Catz, vice president and elect Mike Pence are also to attend. One major absence will be that the Twitter CEO, Jack Dorsey, despite the fact that the billionaire turned president-elect uses the social network as a major means of getting out his message. Bezos has been the target of the Manhattan real estate tycoon for allegedly using the Washington Post to secure tax benefits for Amazon and to attack the Republican. Bezos responded by offering Trump a trip into space on a rocket operated by his Blue Origin spaceflight company. Late last month, a group of 17 tech associations offered to work with Trump while calling for policies to, quote, foster growth and innovation, end quote. Will Bezos kiss the ring, or will the feud between the two ego titans escalate after today's meeting? Find out shortly, after Yellen hikes rates by 25 basis points. So I'm going to go straight into a Jim Stone article where this was published last night on the 14th. A statement of what for me is obvious. Trump has zero, absolutely no elite backing. I laugh at the Post saying the Rockefellers are for him and that the Rothschilds are for him, and all the Masonic bullshit that is such patent bullshit, a manure pit pothole of the information highway. Want to know how I know? Easy. Because the Rothschilds did not want Brexit and are trying to overturn it. And Trump was gas on that fire because the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and Soros helped Hillary and own the mainstream media. Just look at how the mainstream media is doing backflips to destroy Trump. Wake up. I pray the bulk of the people are not stupid enough to buy the line that, quote, the elite are all in for Trump. Fact, Rockefeller, Rothschild and Soros want a new world order. Trump is a stiff nationalist that will probably kill their dreams. They hate him. So what if Trump's cabinet has a few billionaires and other stooges because they are well placed, and where it really matters, he is putting people that really count. The stooges are getting placed only because of their skill set and the connections Trump thinks that will be net benefit. And this is something which has swayed my possibility in a theory, which again I will share just after this section here. Trump's other picks equal death to climate change, death to the EPA, death to forced vaccines, death to schools as indoctrination centres, death to infiltrated intelligence agencies that only serve the elite, and life to space exploration and industry and the American worker. As far as I see it, Trump is kicking ass already. Do not be fooled by trolls into thinking otherwise, and don't bother messaging me saying how wrong I am. So he's coming out, so Jim Stone is coming out categorically that Trump has no connection or affiliation. Now I've been playing devil's advocate on Trump could be establishment via the bloodline that he has. He is connected to Hillary Clinton through their Scottish royalty bloodline that they both share, and that is proven, and you can find that. And I'm a believer of the bloodlines are always thicker than anything else, and that is what shapes civilization or the NWO agendas. You have to be part of the brotherhood, the bloodline. But even if that is right, I will say this next section purely as a contradiction to my belief, because none of us actually know what is going on behind this veil. None of us have the ability, because we're outside of the circle, we're outside of that club, which is why it's important, I believe, to have the speculation and to not be fooled by any particular stance. But I'll say this, in a serious economic crisis that is looming and pending over everybody on this planet, and obviously the centre of the fiat currencies, being the US dollar. Trump, if he is a legitimate people's man, people's person, and he knows full well that all these key players, these key people that he's meeting with, that he's putting on his team, are nothing more than an insulator. He will not take any of their inputs to his root agenda. The reason he is placing these powerful NWO players that have affiliations with the Clinton foundations, with the Soros, with the Rockefellers, and with the Rothschilds. This could simply be a protection mechanism should the establishment, the NWO, the shadow governments, try to collapse the system on top of Donald Trump to create the most catastrophic event known, leaving his name tattered in history as the worst president, the largest financial recession, depression that lasted decades. So what could he do to prevent this happening? Will you employ and select the top business people that have the most skin and influence inside of the game around you as cabinet members? So that way, these people will have the ability, the resources, and the influence to not only jump ship from the Hillary Soros foundations that are crippling this planet, and to align forces, possibly with Trump, to create a new and hopefully better environment for people. Now, whether this is true, who knows? But it makes a fantastic strategical play that Trump has created in order to insulate himself from the evil powers that will be trying to displace him from that Oval Office. So it's food for thought nonetheless, that perhaps this is just his play to protect himself, to protect the interests of finance, because at the end of the day, all the people that he is selecting have a foundation in the core financial industries, and you could also go as far as saying that they are the markets. They can sway and control the markets. And it's obviously not going to be in the multi-billionaires' interests to lose vast capital sums in crisis collapses. So they're going to try and shore up the system. They're going to try and kick this can and extend it and somehow try to fix it while eliminating the evil powers that are hiding behind that veil, that deep state that only want to cripple this entire planet. Anyway guys, I'll leave that there, and thank you so much for watching. Please do leave your comments, do subscribe, do share this if you can, and I'll see you shortly on the next video, which will be covering some crypto news. Thanks a lot.